I can program my phone.
My daughter.
Our new phone, we have our new, the new phones, yes, I'm through.
All right, live folks.
Good evening and welcome everyone. I'd like to start off our meeting this evening. We're actually going to have the Repair Reserve Fund hearing initially before we start our regular meeting. So I'm going to actually turn this over to Mr. Tim Seymour, our superintendent, who's going to give you the particulars of the repairs and replacement that are required for this. So, awesome, Tim.
Thank you, Ms. Locke. I appreciate that. So, yes, we have a number of items that require either repair or replacement, which is the intended use of the repair reserve. So what I will do is I'll go through these items one at a time. Dana, if there's anything that you think is valuable contextually, please feel free to join in. But most of these things are pretty evident on the face. Most of them we became aware of the need to replace these either through our building condition survey, which is done every 5 years, or just in our review and routine maintenance with the facilities crew. So the first is our phone system. So the district has, for the better part of 2 years, been working with a company called Actor to replace all of our phones with a new voice over internet system. So we were hardlined prior to the new system, and thanks to the recent April break in the work of the IT team, we were able to finally get the installation in place. So the bus garage, middle high school, elementary school, and our office all have new phones with the voice over internet system. So our previous phone system was beyond aged, and there was actually a period of time, a year or two ago, where they would even cut out periodically after a certain amount of time. We had to put different code in order to fix those. So the cost of the installation and all of the equipment was $136,000. The next item is a generator. So we've contracted with BGR Power out of North Bangor, New York, for parts and installation for the middle high school generator. They began their work today, right, Dana? And this has been on our punch list for a number of years, and we're fortunate that our generator has provided the security we've needed over the past decade and change, but certainly it's our security system when we do lose power. Next is a kiln. So our ceramics classes in the middle high school are dependent on the electric kiln that's there. We've had the kiln presently. We have one that was donated to us from the Lake Placid Center for the Arts, and then we had second kiln that was then brought to the elementary school. Our kiln presently is not heating adequately, and because of that, they don't have the functionality that they need for glazing of the ceramics and things of that nature. So we are seeing increased involvement by the students in our ceramics classes, and actually we did our first community classes with ceramics this last term. So L&L Kilns has provided a quote of $5,500 for the replacement of that. As an addendum to the kiln, we also have a need for a sink replacement, a Regency sink, estimated cost of $2,500. This is a specialized sink that allows for materials disposal in the art room. So when you have paints and more viscous materials that need to go down the sink, this enables that to happen. We have boiler repair at $15,000. This is stemming from our leak in March. Dana, is that accurate?
Correct.
Yep. So you'll recall we had our emergency release drill at 8:55 or some hour that was not ideal. So this is to address the repairs that were born from the leak. And last but not least, we have a total of 11 unit vent HVAC replacement units. We've been securing quotes from Danforth, and Danforth has provided quotes for 2 horizontal units, which are overhead for the wood shop area. This is all about this wing here, the middle school wing as it's known, or the tech shop area. So 2 for the tech shop area, and then 9 other vertical units, which are the floor units for the first, second, and third floor of this newer wing. And we also are looking at having the third floor of this wing be outfitted with both heating and cooling options, which is certainly timely given the need to stay on top of and address temperatures in non-air conditioned school facilities. There was a passage recently in New York State of requiring districts to have a policy to address inordinately hot temperatures in schools. So, and that policy, that's just aside, is something that we'll be presenting to the board prior to July 1st of this year.
And those are just this wing. There's 3 on this wing. It's not for the whole third floor. Yeah, we don't have the electrical to do the rest of the floor.
But that'll give us the utility we need, and having the AC both, like, it's super hot on the third floor.
Super hot when I was.
Yes, and it's only got warmer, I presume. And also that will allow us some flexibility when we have testing and things like that, or summer programming. Then we have some designated sites other than the library and a handful of other places that are air conditioned in the middle high school. Thankfully, the elementary school, being the newer building, is fully controlled and has heating and cooling options for the students. So I know I just went over a lot of those items, but district phone system, generator, kiln, sink replacement, boiler, and the HVAC units for it. Are there any questions from any board members?
I think the replacements you're doing are smart and much needed.
They all seem quite necessary.
Is the phone system done here? You mentioned several places that didn't mean other places are gonna also be phoned.
Could you repeat, Don? I'm sorry.
Is the phone system, what you have here, the complete thing that you want, or are there a series of?
It's
steps?
installed at this point. Yeah.
It's the entire district.
Yeah.
Yeah, every phone in the district is getting replaced. Okay.
Okay, then, as a component of the hearing, also, any members of the public who have any questions or comments about this are free to speak. Okay. Then I'll turn it to the adjournment phase of the hearing.
So we will adjourn this phase of our meeting, and we will move on to our regular meeting call to order. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item is the consent agenda. Recommended action, approve the following items which are included in the consent agenda. 6A minutes, 7A abolishment of teaching assistant positions, 8E approval of property tax report card 2526, 8G policy second read and adoption 2245, and 8H organizational meeting date change, and lastly 8I special education. May I have a motion, please?
Make the motion. I'll second.
Any discussion or any comments on any of those? If not, please vote. Six yes. Moving on to our first good of the cause. Is there anyone here today that would like to speak? No, Karen, anything online?
Yes, I received a letter from Stephanie Murphy.
Okay.
Good morning, Superintendent Seymour. While I understand the official deadline to submit an application for a seat on the Lake Placid Board of Education has surpassed, after much consideration, I would like to take this opportunity to express my eagerness and willingness, if called upon, through a successful write-in nomination, to serve as a future board member and representative of Lake Placid Central School District. As an active community member, former Lake Placid graduate, local public school district educator of 10 years, and a mother of a child who will quickly be moving into the district, I find the time not only fitting, but most importantly necessary for me to become an active participant in our local education system. Children have and always will always continue to be the forefront of my decision-making as I strive to help support them in reaching their fullest potential as lifelong learners and strong, confident individuals. With all that, it is my plan to promote myself as a write-in candidate for the upcoming election on May 20th, 2025. I am excited and hopeful for the opportunity to collaborate and support all learners within our local district community. I am open to and strongly welcome any further questions and or conversation that you may have about my decision to run for the Board of Education, either in person or over the phone, and I appreciate your support and consideration in my candidacy decision. Stephanie Murphy.
Great, thank you. Any other ones, Karen?
No.
Okay, information for the public. There's not anything there, so we'll move into the report section, and our first is the budget performance report. Dana?
Yes, you should have in front of you. It's for April, as of April 11th. Seems like forever ago when it goes together. When you look across the board in terms of our expenses, we are trending, for most categories, 5 to 6%. Our materials and supplies is down 27%, but that's kind of been in a negative all year anyway. So, that's just a matter of when people are putting in for, school, classroom materials and things like that is really what's driving that. At the same time, you'll see a nearly 50% jump in equipment from last year to this year. And you can tie that to, we did make a purchase of a vehicle that would fall into this category. So that's really what's driving that big jump from last year. But otherwise, we're looking at this time, it was a little over 6% increase in our expenditures from last year at this time. You look at that, it's higher than what we budgeted in terms of about 3%. But when I look today, we were off about $10,000 from last year. So it goes back to what I say typically for all of these, everything is about timing. When we look at it, it's all about a snapshot in terms of it. We have probably, when I look forward, next 2 months, we have about another $5 million of expenses, salaries and stuff like that. So what is on par with last year. So we're trending, we're trending in, in a normal spot, where we are this year last year. Revenue, kind of the same thing. We're trending a little less than 3% above where we were last year. You can see some, high differences in terms of other tax item. You throw that, oh my goodness, 300% lower. Well, it's really just $12,000. And that's because of when we have 2 pilots. We have a $4,000 pilot and a $12,698 pilot. That pilot just came in. So next one, you'll see that will be, the same. When you look at the percentage, it looks really high. Otherwise, charges for services, that's about down 71%. That's really what we get in terms of use of our property and all that. And what's really driving that is generally by this time, we've got half of our payment for the Summit Lacrosse, and that just came in. So that's really what's driving that difference there is that $7,000 to $8,000 that we generally put in as revenue source around this time.
Dana, where's the second pilot that came in?
It is the new apartment buildings down here by the Chipman, whatever, yes. Yes, thank you, yeah. Yeah, I think it's I want to say a 30-year pilot, and we get about, that amount, and I think it increases 3% every year. I remember the agreements that were shared with us. We just started it last year.
For those of you that are listening, it's payment in lieu of taxes. That's what the pilot.
Otherwise, our revenue wise, again, we're trending about where we are, just under 3% increase over last year. That's kind of where we budgeted. So I am finding though that the state is actually sending out their payments earlier than normal. We've gotten almost all of our state aid at this point, which is unusual. There's usually some stragglers that come in the summertime, and it's going to be a very, minor, minimal amounts. So the state is on top of giving us our aid earlier than normal, at least in past trends. So Questions on the budget performance?
Wasn't the extension for the state budget, did that expire today? Did they extend it again?
You know, yeah, and I read an article this morning that they have agreed on a budget amounts. So now I think it's just
Passing the bills.
passing the bills.
Yeah.
Should happen, the next day or two.
Thank you, Dana. Next report is the treasury report with Dana again.
Treasury reports, yeah, you're looking at it in terms of, we have still about 15 million sitting in our accounts, in the various accounts, whether it's the NICLAS, the ICS, or operating accounts. Cash receipts versus cash disbursements, that kind of shows you, in terms of at least end of March. We brought in a little over $1.2 million. Normally, it's $300,000 to $400,000, between our tax collecting and then this time of year. That kind of shows you that the state is kind of giving, it's setting us our aid a little earlier than normal. Our cash disbursement is still, higher than a cash receipts, but that is not unusual for us when 80+% of our revenue is in by November. I think also what's driving this is we did get our payment from the county. Well, actually came in early April. They make us whole every year. Whatever's outstanding for our property taxes, we get that check from the county. I think that just came in like April 8th. So it's not representative of this, but it will be representative of the next. $461,000 in outstanding checks. That's just a matter of when they go out at the end of the month and how long it takes for the vendors to process their checks. So otherwise, we're still looking pretty good in terms of our revenue. Again, we're sitting at over $15 million in our accounts.
How was our interest rate holding on our little, the coffers that we have that we?
Oh, still very good. When I looked just the other day, we are exceeding what we budgeted.
Okay.
By about $50,000. We have about 2 months left, so we're averaging about $50,000 to $60,000 a month. So that will drop because we'll have a balloon payment of all our payroll at the end of June. So we'll see a drop there. But yes, so we have exceeded what we budgeted for interest.
Any questions? All right, we will move on to the superintendent report. Tim.
So I know a lot happened over the 2-week break, with the exception of our staycation program, where we did have a lot of student participation. Most of what happened at the home, with families, either getting away or having a staycation of their own. So we've been back 2 days, but there are some things that since our last meeting, I just wanted to draw attention to or mention that are coming up in the coming week. So just prior to break, our elementary students went to the LPCA for another presentation. This was a presentation of the show Marooned Space Comedy, and it was a puppet show, which my son thought was great. He told me about it, about an astronaut who stranded from Earth light years away. But the kids had a great time. It was a good way to kind of ease into the longer break after that. So that's yet another performance at the LPCA that they've been able to attend. So I really appreciate all the coordination that's gone on with the Art Center to support our kids this year. Looking ahead a little bit, later this week, our own Savannah Coro is going to be named the recipient of the Kate Smith Award, which is the Rotary Association's award that they designate for a student who has exceptional musical achievement and passion for the arts. If you saw the musical, then Savannah did an outstanding job in Cinderella as the godmother. She was wonderful. So Thursday, she will be presented with a scholarship in honor of the singer and Lake Placid resident Kate Smith. So congratulations to Savannah, and we look forward to seeing you on the big stage in the years to come. Next year, we're preparing the elementary school for the reaccreditation of our primary project. If you're unfamiliar with what the primary project is, it is a play-based one-on-one support program for our K-3 students. So sometimes we have students who need a little help adjusting to school, interacting with their peers. And the primary project is an opportunity to give some students guidance with regards to that. So we've actually had the program for 30 years in our district. It's been very, very useful and helpful for our kids. And our primary project team leads are Linda Young, who also doubles as, well, probably triples and quadruples if you know Linda, in helping out community members at Thrive and Thrift. But also Erica Height joined the team 2 days a week for our primary project. And then our coordinator of it in the school district is Deanna Brown, who's our elementary school guidance counselor. So appreciate the continued accreditation of that program, and it's a really nice thing. When I pop in there and see the kids, just running into that room, they have the opportunity to decompress and just acclimate themselves to a new environment. It's a great thing. Beginning this Friday and every first and third Friday for the rest of the year, Mr. Blevins at the elementary school, our music teacher, is starting family sing-alongs. So these are meant to be informal gatherings, either in the mornings or in the afternoons. So we're looking forward to that. The first sing-along is May 2nd from 3 to 3:20. The next one is May 16th in the morning, 8 to 8:20, June 6th, 3 to 3:20, and June 20th. So I think it's great. Like to get more families feeling connected and getting in the school. So happy to have this initiative come up. So thanks to Mr. Blevins for organizing that. Students are preparing for the community cleanup day on Saturday. There was quite a bit of competition for the community cleanup day poster coloring competition prior to break. And now the day is upon us. So on Saturday from 9 to 11 at the Lake Placid Beach House, students and families are encouraged to help clean up the community. After students and families assist, then Mr. Mike's Pizza has graciously offered free pizza for all participants. So we appreciate everyone taking the time to help beautify our community. It's a great tradition. And just to note, the rain date for that is the following Saturday, if that is the case. We have registration and open house that are going to be starting over the next week or so. Our kindergarten registration is Monday and Tuesday of next week. And our universal pre-K program, which is provided by St. Agnes School, will have their open house on Thursday of this week. So we hope to see lots of pre-K and kindergarten students coming in. And last but not least, just later this week, we're going to be sending a slew of students to Peru Central School for the NISMA Solo Festival. So both Mr. Prosper, our choral instructor, and Ms. Kakuka, our instrumental instructor, have been working hard with their students to have them perform NISMA solos. At the NISMA Solo Festivals on May 2nd and May 3rd in Peru, Mr. Prosper will have 12 vocalists preparing solos. 4 of them will be performing the highest level, level 6 all-state performance, which is really college level, and 4 students will be performing for the first time. So we're really excited to see that. And the remainder of the students are doing a mix of level 3 and level 5 pieces. And instrumentally, Ms. Kakuka has 23 students who are registered for the Solo Festival, ranging from level 1 to level 6. And amongst those, there are 4 piano students who have been studying privately with Kathy Cross. And we have an elementary school clarinetist who is working with our elementary music teacher, Mr. Blevins. And the remainder of the students, 18 of them, have been working directly with Ms. Kakuka to prepare for the second and third. So we wish all of our musicians good luck on their solos and thank all of our instructors for their hard work.
We have fun spring. Thank you, Jim. Next, under reports, information for the board, there are a couple of items under executive content for you to look over, especially with the dates that are there. There's lots of opportunities to be engaged this spring, so you can take a look at those items. Entering into our discussion phase, super evaluation. It's that time of year again. I'm very excited about it. And it's the There's a couple of dates there that we should pay attention to under executive content, and it's important that everybody at this meeting does attempt, I believe, Karen, that you'd like us to try to get online in there. There is a link at the bottom. Everybody sees that, just to make sure that everyone can get into that.
First timers are there.
And I think if there's any issues that Karen would
Wow,
definitely
and it-
help you get through that. Anybody's new to this? Don, we can share with you, the whole process.
It looks.
But it is important to kind of keep tabs on the dates that are listed there because we all get busy and then the last minute Karen's usually sending out SOS messages to get things taken care of. So it's important to be apprised of those dates. Okay, moving on, 6A minutes are under consent, as is 7A. Moving into the other action items section. First is Teacher Appreciation Week. Recommended action is a motion to recognize May 5th through 9th, 2025 as Teacher Appreciation Week. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Sorry.
Yeah, 3 people going.
Colleen, one, who's second?
I will second that. The two teachers.
Any discussion other than to say it's a great week to recognize all of the hard work from our teachers, for sure. Please vote.
Six yes.
The next item is recommended action, motion to acknowledge May 1st, 2025 as School Principal Day. May I have a motion, please?
I'll move. I'll second.
Again, I think it's important for us to acknowledge our 3 principals that we have in-house and all the hard work that they do. Please vote.
Six yes.
The next item, recommended action, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts the administrative budget for the Board of Cooperative Education Services of the sole supervisory district of Franklin, Essex, and Hamilton County in the amount of $3,388,370 for the 2025-2026 school year. May I have a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Okay.
Second.
And discussion, please. I think, John, would you like to?
Okay. I'll read from my prepared statement. Excuse me for that, but there's a lot of numbers in there that I want to make sure I get correct. I hope that you've already read the full text of my comments on this topic that were recently posted on Board Docs. This presentation will be a shortened version. This may be the 5th time that I've made a similar presentation on the proposed BOCES admin budget to the Lake Placid District School Board. The details have varied, but the message has been consistent. And unfortunately, the results have also been the same. No demonstrable improvement up to now. Maybe, hopefully, things will go better this time. Let me begin by saying again, and I emphasize this, that I have no issues whatsoever with the BOCES, FEH BOCES in general. However, I do have major issues with the structure and the leadership of that organization. BOCES admin department will consist of 12 listed positions and a slot for 1 or more people to do various jobs. 5 of the former 12 will be full-time, 5 will be half-time or less, and 3 of these will be quarter-time or less FTEs. 3 employees are titled deputy, or assistant. Some progress has been made here, but still, how can this collection of mainly subordinate part-timers function effectively and efficiently? The rules and regulations for budgeting in school districts and regional BOCES are very different. School district budgets are subject to a tax levy limit of 2%, which is way below the CPI inflation. In contrast, increases in the BOCES admin budget are not subject to any such mandated restrictions. History shows the sad result. In each of the past 4 years, the BOCES admin budget will have risen between 4.3 and 7.5%, which is 2 to 4 times the school budget's tax levy limit. This is egregious and unconscionable, and blaming onerous, uncontrollable expenses for these recurring excess budget increases is not an excuse. C'est la vie. Passage of school district budgets requires that a majority of participating local registered voters approve it. In contrast, the BOCES admin budget is determined by a majority vote of the BOCES board, which is comprised of reps of the 10 component school districts, all of which are equally weighted. Since most members are from the smaller, poor districts that receive greater state aid reimbursement, the board knows with near certainty that there will be majority support for its budget. Whatever, there are no real checks and balances in this system. In fact, it's self-serving. The only path to development of a lean organization and a tight budget must come from a concerted, committed initiative with perseverance and follow-through by the BOCES admin executives and board. Unfortunately, up to now, I have seen no such demonstrable will and drive from that leadership body. This is disturbing and discouraging. In conclusion, I hope that other members of this board, as well as those of the other school districts in the FEH BOCES region, support me in not supporting the proposed budget increase of 7.5%. Disapproval by a majority of the component districts will require revision of the current proposal. The result would likely benefit us all this year and may even precipitate action for new thinking and better outcomes in the future. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, John. I think we all appreciate the time that you put into this and compiling this information for us. I think it's very helpful. Thank you.
I want to add that I sent out a board-wide email. I don't know if you had time to read it, but basically explaining that I was a kid on the block and that I felt as though I didn't understand enough about this to have an opinion. Superintendent Seymour invited me in and gave me a really, really good half-hour tutorial without pushing me left or right or suggesting that I vote one way or another. Came away from Tim's meeting with a much better understanding and I'm able to make votes. Thanks, Tim.
No, that's great. That's great. Any other comments?
Thanks, John. Again, appreciate it.
If not, then please vote.
Six no.
Moving on to our next item, recommended action. Be it resolved, the Board of Education casts its vote in the annual election of members of the Franklin Essex Hamilton Board of Cooperative Educational Services for the person or persons indicated on the attached ballot. Any motion, please?
I'll move it.
Is that
I'll
Doug?
second.
Yes, it was done.
Any discussion? If you haven't already, take a look at the ballots, the names that are there.
Where is this? I think it's adds to.
The public.
Public contents.
Any other comments?
I just want to be clear that we're voting for everybody on there.
Okay.
Yes?
I would think so, yes, there's
There's
four
four
names there.
vacancies.
Everybody okay? Please vote.
Basically, these are. We have Joe. Yes,
Okay. Not that that makes it.
Vote.
I'm waiting for Don and Ron.
I think we'll get,
John, you voted. I'm just waiting for Ron now.
oh, Ron.
We are.
I'm finally up.
You know what?
You can raise your hand.
Oh, okay. Got it. I'm in now. No.
7 yes.
Thank you to Joanne Williams too, again, for extending her willingness to extend her term on behalf of our board. That's very helpful.
Next item is recommended action. Be it resolved, the Board of Education hereby approves the property tax report card for the
That was
20
in consent.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Okay, G, H, and I are all under consent.
You have to go to F.
Oh, I missed one. Okay, sorry. Resolution to adopt LPAA contract. Okay, recommended action. Be it resolved that the board hereby ratifies the negotiated agreement between the district and the Lake Placid Administrators Association and authorizes the funding of those monies necessary to implement the provisions of the collective bargaining agreement. LPAA for successor to 22-25 collecting bargaining agreement, March 31st, 2025. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion.
Second.
Have a choice to abstain when it comes up?
Yes.
Discussion on that?
I'd like to thank Colleen and Ryan for their assistance through the process and helping with negotiations. Appreciate it.
Please vote.
Six yes, one abstention.
The next three items are under consent. Last item, recommended action. Whereas the Lake Placid Central Schools Board of Education Policy Number 6255, donations, gifts, and grants to the district, allows for the superintendent of schools to accept on behalf of the board gifts, donations, and grants having a value of less than $1,500. Whereas monies have been granted as follows. The town of North Elba in the amount of $5,000, $5,000, and $7,000 to be used for the French immersion program, community school summer program, and pollinator garden. Now therefore be it resolved, in accordance with policy 6255, the Board of Education hereby accepts the check from the town of North Elba in the total amount of $17,000. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion. Sorry.
Second.
Well, that's wonderful. Nice money's coming in.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Surprising.
Yeah,
It's great.
no, that's great. Wonderful. Any other comments? If not, please vote.
Seven yes.
Okay, moving down to linking goals with agenda items. Anyone like to offer one of our goals that we've achieved?
Fiscal responsibility.
Finance, sure. Absolutely.
Is that
Sorry for
under,
that.
is that under the administrative budget?
And Dana's report.
Dana's report. Maybe technology with the phone system and other things that are coming into play. Certainly education with Tim's report and on the accolades of some of our students and the young woman with the Kate Smith Award.
You said education?
Yeah. And the project at the elementary school that's being implemented, the one that Linda Young, yeah, the name.
Oh, yeah, the primary project.
Yeah, the primary project.
And this pollinator garden too, that's.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah, she's the one that submitted the grant.
yeah, which is
Yeah,
great.
I know she's very excited about it, so it's
Exciting.
great.
Love that.
Okay, we have a second for the good of the cause. Anything, Karen?
No.
With that said, we will enter into our adjournment phase. Our next meeting is May 6th, which is the budget hearing here in Lake Placid. So everyone make note of that. And then again, on May 20th, we have the budget vote, which is at the elementary school, Karen, or, okay.
The elementary school cafeteria
Okay.
in Wilmington Community Center.
So that's important. So everyone get out and vote.
From 1 to 8, we close
1
it
to
an
8?
hour early this
Okay.
year.
1 to 8.
Tim will be walking back and forth with a sandwich sign on him, vote today. He's all upset.
Yeah.
Look
You
for
said
him.
across the street in Port.
That's after,
Saw me last year. Yeah.
it's after he participates in the sing-along.
I'll be ready for this.
You'll
I'm
be
excited for
ready.
this. That sounds good.
It's your moment. Any old agenda topics? Any new? If not, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting at, ask for a motion at 5:48, please.
Hey.
Second.
I will second that.
John Tuttle.
Everyone, please vote.
You just want to say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Bye.
That's 7,
Thank you.
7 yes.
I think so. It's 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So how are the babies? How's the little one?
At noon, they were born.
That might wildly excited.
2 boys. I have 2 grandsons.
That's awesome.
She's fired up.
That's
So
awesome.
how big are they? How
Uh, Each about 6 pounds. I don't know the exact count.
What's that?
Yeah, it's gonna be
Thank
fine.
you, Colleen.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will be on the road